A little bit about Austin Energy. Austin Energy is a municipally owned electric utility company. It is owned by the city of Austin, Texas. That little red dot is about, I think it's probably twice as big as the service area. But anyway, the population around this Austin, the city of Austin, is about, about 1,900,000 population. The service area of the electric utility is about 400 square miles. The generation capacity, we own 3,000 megawatts of power plant capacity. And it's the way the portfolio of generation, we have 30% of it is nuclear power, 30% of it is coal, and 30% of it is natural gas. That's just kind of like a rule of thumb. We have about 10% that is renewable energy, wind, solar, biomass. That is the mix of our power plants. But for being a small utility, the city of Austin and Austin Energy are at the forefront of energy efficiency and energy management, renewable energy, sustainability, the whole green building movement. In this morning's Rocky Mountain News, there's an article that says this utility company, Excel Plant, is a lightning rod for conflict. And you look at it, and I was reading the article with interest because it's somewhat kind of similar to what I'm about to go over. It says that Excel Energy proposal to build a power plant in Denver has become a poster child for conflict as Colorado moves towards a new energy economy based on renewable energy and conservation. It talks about how it's going through some difficulty getting this plant approved. And there's a couple of numbers that I just want to highlight in this plant. It says the plant will be a 480 megawatt power plant, gas-fired power plant. And it's going to cost between $600 and $650 million. So let's just say it costs $650 million. And by the way, they initially had an estimate it was going to cost $400 million. So there is a 50% increase in the cost of this gas-fired power plant. And since they first started estimating, the latest estimate is $650 million. So when you look at, there's a metrics that we use in the electric industry. So how much does that cost per unit of capacity? So you look at that, and that is $1,350 per 1 kilowatt. In other words, to build 1 unit of capacity in generation costs $1,300 for 1 unit of capacity. Energy efficiency, and the programs that I can go over with you in Austin can cost $250 to achieve the same unit of capacity through energy efficiency than building a power plant. In this particular case, it's a gas-fired power plant, which if you're aware also, I'm sure everyone is aware, natural gas is very expensive. In fact, I was reading the newspaper article. It says 1 million BTUs of natural gas cost $12 per million BTUs. And that is up from last year, it was $7 per million BTUs. So this is a 71% increase in the price of natural gas in the last few years. So I remember when I was doing energy audits back in the 80s, I used to use a figure that was $4 per million BTUs of natural gas. So you start getting the idea that, I mean, building a power plant is expensive. And building a power plant with any kind of resource, whether it's natural gas, coal, or even nuclear, it's very expensive. I was at a conference last couple of months ago, and where they had an engineer from Bechtel. You know, they specialize in building nuclear power plants, and he was telling the audience, it's a group of public utility companies that was saying, if you are thinking of investing in building a nuclear power plant, says you better be ready to bet your whole utility company, because you're talking about billions and billions of dollars to build a power plant. I thought that was interesting to hear it from an engineer that is building these power plants, these nuclear power plants. And so anyway, so this is out of today's newspaper, and you get the sense that it is expensive to build power plants, and it's a lot cheaper to do it through energy efficiency. This kind of the reason I was presenting it is because it is very similar to the story of Austin and Austin Energy. In 1980, the city of Austin was faced with building a 500 megawatt power plant.